Guys, 2.5.3 changes are out, so let's talk about them. Yishun Wang received significant long changes. Xiao also has been changed, and by the looks of it, buffs. Specifically for Yishun Wang, as of right now, she does work with dialyn stun damage multiplier. This is a big, massive change, and now the pull value of dialyn has drastically improved, if you ask me. Also, by the looks of it, you might be able to play Yishun Wang without Xiao. Do know that Xiao is still really good for Yishun Wang, but it's not as dependent, or let's say a must as before. It's still good, but now you do kind of have some other options you could play with if you do not want to use Xiao for whatever reason. We'll begin first with another important thing regarding Yishun Wang. If you already checked the kit around on the internet, you might be not aware that her 30% critical rate boost is still within her kit, but has been moved to X special attack instead. The description is not yet updated in any language, but Leifa was able to figure this one out, so thanks to them, we know that we still keep 30% critical rate boost in her base kit. That's a huge one. We'll go first over Yishun Wang changes, but before that, a quick word from our sponsor. Look, we all love getting those flashy new S-rank agents in Zenless Zone 0, but topping up on monochromes to get all those pulls can be seriously pricey. That's why I teamed up with rushbuy.gg. They're 100% safe and secure top-up service that offers amazing discounts up to 29% off for games like Zenless Zone 0, Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail, and many more. And don't worry, it's 100% safe and reliable. They partner directly with game publishers and use official top-up channels, so your account is completely secure. The process is super straightforward, requiring only your server and UID. I personally use it myself to grab the Internet membership and a few monochrome packs for the next banner, and I received it all in less than 5 minutes. So before you top up again, click the link in the description and give rushbuy.gg a try. Use my code for an extra 15% discount on your purchase. You won't be disappointed. Guys, there is also an ongoing special promotion, Black Friday, where if you just spend over $3.4, you'll get a free monthly pass instantly. This offer is only valid before December 7th, so make sure to take advantage of this one. So now let's go over Yishun Wang changes. Like I said, they're quite extensive, but by the end of the day, she seems to be much more simpler and easier to play. I will go through some of this stuff over. Also, feel free to pause the screen if you do want to read things in more detail. We begin first with her Ether Veil Exterminate Evil. This is her damage vulnerability thingy, and the text is still a mess, but we do have confirmation, at least as of right now, the dialyn does in fact work with Yishun Wang. However, there seems to be a bug, I think it's a bug at least, that teammates attack reduce stun damage multiplier. Hopefully this is a bug and it will be fixed, but I just wanted to drop it out here so you know. Another interesting change for Yishun Wang is that now she has an ultimate within her X special skill. Okay. Alright, interesting. Also, there is an interesting change regarding her normal attacks, specifically the damage multiplier when Sword Intent is present. It seems it will change whether or not she consumes her Sword Intent stacks. They also have changed her entry skill. Now we have 6 points of Sword Intent. You will be able to effectively transform into her sword-wielding form and also activate Ether Veil on top. Do note that you will get, from my understanding, 3 stacks of Sword Intent from Ether Veil now. So this is the part where Xiao is still kinda useful, because she will still help you at getting these stacks faster to ult, but it's definitely not necessarily like a must. You have to really have it. There's no other way. You could use some other options, and we'll talk about the team options a bit later down within this video. Also, guys, I forgot to let you know that a lot of you guys who watch me are not subscribed. If you'd like to support this small channel, feel free to subscribe. It's completely free of charge. And now let's continue with the video. We'll also go quickly over the long form of her changes. As you can see on the screen, there is a lot of changes and it can seem very overwhelming, but just as a disclaimer, it is not. There is a lot of text, but in actuality, the gameplay seems to be much easier to play than ever before. And also there is some speculation within the community that perhaps they decided to make her easier to play because players were not happy with how difficult Banyo was to play. But in my opinion, I would think they decided to make her easier to play because 2.5 patch is a patch where a lot of new players will be joining the game and also a lot of returning players, and effectively giving them like a easier character to use would kind of make a lot of sense than an overly complicated character to play. Think of it like when we got free Harumasa back in the day. That wasn't exactly, let's say, if you ask me, beginner-friendly type of character. And just as a reminder, once again, the critical rate buff is still within her kit, just moved elsewhere. It's not in text, but it is in the data. I guess they forgot to update the text or something like that. We also do have multiplier changes for her attacks. Her ultimate, I believe, did receive a significant hit in multiplier, but overall, from my understanding, it should still be a DPS increase, specifically now that you can take advantage of stunners like dialyn to do more stun damage multiplier and all that stuff. It's definitely going to be more useful. Then we also have further changes to Yishun Wang. It seems her chain attack motion values have been quite significantly buffed. However, her ultimate, like I already mentioned earlier, has been kinda nerfed a bit. If this stuff overwhelms you guys, don't worry. We do have a nice TLDR via JSM, Smile, so we'll go over that as well. But here are further Yishun Wang changes, and personally, you can read all of this if you want, but like I said, the end product of how she functions, I think a lot of people will be pleased and perfectly content with her. Her Mindscapes also received changes. However, there is no Mindscape 6 yet for her, just as a heads up. Her W-Engine also has been buffed, so it's much more desirable than before. It did lose the damage bonus, sure, but it has the 20% physical rest ignore, which is very powerful and good to have. The buff duration also has been increased to 40 seconds, so the uptime, it's not gonna be a problem whatsoever. As for Mindscapes, I believe M1 and M2 are much more better than what it used to be. Specifically now, her M1 provides double core damage bonus compared to what it used to be, and also be able to enter immediately with 6 points of sword intent. And then we have her M2, which now makes her basic attacks much more meaningful, because each point of sword intent consumed will grant 1 stack of harmony, up to 6 stacks, and this buff lasts until the sword wielding form or enhanced state. And then when you activate her enhanced special skill attack, which is effectively her ultimate, now from my understanding, you will consume the harmony effects first and maintain the sword in 10 stacks. And because you will have the sword in 10 stacks, you'll be able to use them up again. So that seems pretty good. Now let's go over Xiao changes, the supposedly free character, which kind of makes a lot of sense. She did receive motion value buffs, which is nice, but still, her role pretty much as of right now, at least at M0, is just to be there for Yishun Wang. Very simple, straight to build, you just slap HP, call it a day, but at least now it's gonna do some more damage, I guess. In my opinion, it's still good to see that things are getting increased. The basic attack are effectively kinda useless because at M0 at least you will not really play her on field. If you're some like Super Zhao fan and you go for M6, then maybe these motion values for basic attack might be more meaningful. I don't know, we'll have to see, right? But overall, I still believe with Xiao you will still be able to get about, I guess, 3 ether veils throughout the fight from Xiao, which is gonna give some extra stacks for your Yishun Wang. We also have Xiao Mindscape changes, some of buffs, some I guess could be nerfs, but at the same time, if anybody goes M6, I guess you'll be doing more damage with her, because instead of the critical rate boost, you get 195% of original damage multiplier increase. I'm not sure if this is for all attacks or specific type of attacks, but nevertheless, if you truly want to make this character into DPS, it seems to be M6 or bust, and even with M6, I don't know how good of a DPS this will be. Just as a heads up. Then as a bonus, we can also go over character buffs. Soldier 11 and Bernice in particular. These two characters received some further adjustment within their buff. Soldier 11 parry can now be chained into basic attack 3 combo, so you can straight go quickly into her basic 5 attack. However, its motion while basic attack 5 has been slightly nerfed, including the enhanced one. However, the additional motion value from fire suppression has been buffed, so I think Soldier 11 is gonna be fine regardless. As for Bernice, after a proc from basic attack mixed flame blend now counts as 2 procs for the bloom condition, and a bloom can be chained into intense hit steering method double shot. I would say this is a buff as well, so it looks pretty nice. I'm very excited that we're getting Bernice, Soldier 11, Grace back into the fold, especially somebody who has M6 Grace. And I also do like Bernice, of course. As for Soldier 11, I don't have this character. Unlucky, it is what it is. And at last, let's go over the TLDR. Thanks to JSM Discord, we have a beautiful TLDR. As you can see, it's quite simple. However, do note that critical rate passive is still within the kit, just moved elsewhere. That's why I put it at the start of the video, so people don't get confused on that one. And that is why Steel Cushion is not gonna be as valuable, unfortunately. However, I don't think Brimstone will still be a good option, because now, from my understanding, you're not really going to be using her basic attacks, at least at M0, to the extent you would be using it before. Just as a heads up, I could be incorrect on this one. As already mentioned, the rotation is simplified, and also her previous M2 effect is basically integrated into her base kit. I believe that is the extra ultimate thingy. Do correct me if I'm wrong on that, guys. Also, as already mentioned earlier, Xiao is not as necessary as before, and also the star multiplier interaction has been fixed. However, there seems to be a bug, like already mentioned, regarding the teammate attack still reducing it for some reason. Hopefully this is a bug and not an intended mechanic, because it'd be such a weird mechanic, honestly. And we also do have a beautiful TLDR regarding gameplay. So basic attack outside of her transformed state, plus X special to accumulate sword intent, and also hold basic is literally useless as of right now. You hold basic or swap in with 6 sword intent to enter sword stance or throughout the ultimate, and teammates with either veil, such as Xiao, will give you 3 sword intent. And like I already mentioned, I believe you're gonna have about, what, 3 either veils throughout the fight with Xiao in Deadly Assault. And also in Sword Stance at M0, hold her special until you empty her bar. Also have capability to exit her transform state earlier with that free extra ultimate, I guess, the alternative ultimate, that is. As for Mindscapes, like already mentioned, M1 double core damage bonus, and also start with easily with 6 sword intent stacks, so you can transform right away. And M2 effectively changes the rotation, so basics now will consume 16 intent. They will be able to hold special plus ultimate. As for teammate options, now that Xiao is not necessarily as necessary as before, you can consider some other options. But as you can see, dialyn is very much prevalent, and dialyn banner is still up. And if you do have gems to spare to get dialyn plus Yishun Wang, I highly recommend you consider picking dialyn at this point in time, because now she does work with Yishun Wang, subject to change, of course, but you also do have option to play it with Astra if you do not want to use Xiao. I am aware Xiao is free, but not everybody necessarily has the resources to build Yishun Wang and Xiao at the same time, so you might already want to use like a character that you already have built, like Astra, and you should be fine with that. You also have Seed as an option, so that's good as well. As for standardless teams such as Astra Zhao, Seed Zhao, I guess that should also be okay, but as of right now, I would say the dialyn variation is probably going to be the most superior along with Zhao, but the gap between perhaps Zhao and Astra might not be as larger as it was before necessarily for Yishun Wang. And to end this video on a funny note, there is a new event, Bangbo by the looks of it, that literally has an additional ability requirement event that requires Yishun Wang within the team by name. That is kinda funny, and probably this bangbo will be used for Yishun Wang teams, so that's that. It might not be an event bangbo, but I think it is. So yeah, guys, this is pretty much it for 2.5.3 stuff. Of course, there will be further changes down the line, but as of right now, I would say dialyn is a relatively safe option because it does work with Yishun Wang. There is obviously always a risk they could revert something back. Just as a heads up, you can always like wait before pulling on her banner because her banner is still up, of course, at the time of this video. And of course, also if you have any questions or like to add anything yourself, feel free to write it in the comments down below. And as always, guys, I wish you a wonderful day and see you in the next video. Ciao.